Morning color on this Thursday. Could be afternoon, could be morning, could be later. You know, what's the word? What's the word? How y'all doing out there? So we're gonna talk about coming to you live. Put this thing on real quick. It's a real simple question. We talking basketball tonight. Hope y'all doing all right. Putting this thing on in sight. Ain't nothing, but we all very much in focus. See what we got. Let's see what we working with. So anyway, it's a pretty simple question. Is Anthony Davis washed? Tell me what you saw last night in the move for Luka Doncic. He looked like he was in a state of shock. He that firepower he had when he first got traded didn't look that good last night. He looked like he was, and I understand. I mean, Lucas came with heavy emotion. Lucas really came to play last night. It made the trade look pretty kind of lopsided. But anyway, we're gonna talk about it. It's just one game. You know, it's gonna be interesting. Of course, LeBron was leading the Hooyah, and LeBron was chanting it up. So you almost it's two sides to look at this. Anthony Davis got his karma for how he did New Orleans when LeBron was leading the parade last night. So we'll talk about it. We're gonna definitely talk about it. So come on through if you coming in. Feel free to comment. This is live. It may be Friday morning where you are. Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, depending on where you are in the world. Let me know, let me know, let me know. If you have an interest in this whole thing, it kind of played out last night. Anthony Davis looked kind of old last night, though. So we're going to find out where we stand. We'll be here for a while. Hit the buttons by accident, but we are very much live in clarity. So we're going to see what we're dealing with. All right. Keep on hitting it live. Let me know that you are live and let's talk. on up. Wake yourself on up. Wake yourself on up. When you live in color, there's a lot going on in different topics and themes. So we're just gonna see what we're working with. I don't know if they send out any notifications, so I'm just saying, but always be on the lookout because I could come out to you live. If you come and we aware, you would not hard to find me. So we're gonna see what we're working with. So someone so far said no to Anthony Davis. I'm looking forward to getting a reaction to this one. He didn't look too good last night though. We're gonna find out though. A lot of topics to talk about. Let me put my stuff down. Come on through. Let me know. Let me know. If you are live and you want to talk, holla holla. I will be on right now. Look like it's gonna be a half hour. Unless of course people start coming through. So if you coming and you wanna talk, let's get with the show now. I am looking forward to conversation today. So let's see what we're working with. Mess with the cough drops. They feel good though. Mm-hmm. All right. See people coming through. Mm-hmm. It's amazing because yesterday I came in, a lot of people left and right. We're conversation. We'll see. Mm-hmm. I saw Anthony Davis, and he looked very dejected. So it'll be interesting how he comes back next year. Mm-hmm. We will be on for at least 20 more minutes, so we'll see if anybody comes through. Sometimes these notifications don't go out. So if you happen to be on, feel free to hit the like and subscribe. And if you want thoughts and comments, feel free. Oh, wait a while. Mm. Anyway, we're just gonna kind of chill mode. Just chilling. One vote so far. Some days, and so like if you're watching, eventually you'll watch this on a rebroadcast. It's kind of a slow day. Sometimes the notifications don't go off for whatever reason. So, but if anybody comes on and want to talk, feel free. Check some out. Hmm. We are just going to just get in a chill mode. So I figure after this, 15 more minutes, and we'll go from there. Okay. So another 15 minutes, we'll just kind of just chill, and then I'll call it a day. Kind of slow some days. I'll be back probably tomorrow live. Kind of an odd day. Can't be mad though when the weather's good and people don't come through. So it's one of those things. Dang, did it freeze up? Appreciate the clicks on the second light. We're going to stay right here for a minute. Well, see what time it is. I think I'm gonna pretty much cut it a day. We'll give it about 3 more minutes. Kind of didn't really jump off the day. It happens sometimes. Happens that way. Just tell more reviews come through. And if you happen to be on, feel free to comment. What's up? Thank you for coming through. You gave me hope. I was just getting ready to roll because nobody was coming through. So thank you for coming through. We can get at least a half hour out of this. What's happening? Let's get some comments going. very much for the donation. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you. You're always good about donating and coming through, so thank you. Every little bit helps. Played like he was emotional, but he played within his set. He didn't do anything dumb. He looked comfortable. Just played like he's supposed to. That's all. He was in a better situation. I knew it drained him though. He been thinking about it. It eats him because he ain't sure he wants to be in La La Land. That kind of what got to him. But anyway, it's a good one for him. Feel free to hit the likes, hit the comments, and keep with the questions coming. And taking the poll is Anthony Davis washed. He looked kind of dejected last night, but kind of had it coming though. That's how he left New Orleans. All right, come on back if we still on. Quiet day. It's been a quiet day. Cough drops. Nothing, no food, just the drops. It's just real easy. That's all. Comfort though. Please hit the likes too, by the way. What you mean? Which Ashante? Which Ashante are you talking about? Because there's oh that Ashante. I thought you were talking about the singer. Eh, listen, I already did the video about him and Dion. I'm not going to entertain it no more. Tyler was better. It says that Tyler played in New England. And Tyler kept them more disciplined about it. Mm, if Ashante had caught that ball, two things work against Ashante, Sam. That pick six against Peyton Manning, if they had a beaten the Colts in that one game, they beat Chicago in the Super Bowl. And then he dropped that one to Eli, hit him in the chest. He catches that ball, New England wins the Super Bowl. They went off. So he had two situations. He did. He did. That's why he ain't better than Dion. Dion's the only one I seen that could make that thing pay. Champ Bailey could cover your behind. Ty Long could cover and hit your behind. But Dion, you did not throw the ball at Dion. I don't know what Asante Samuel is talking about. I seen him play. I ain't seen no one like Dion. I saw Daryl Green, Ryde was all them cats, and they were bad. Everybody bad in their own way. But Dion, when you can keep a do rag on your head and don't have to tackle nobody, yeah, and plus he was in a different situation. Prime time came from Atlanta and worked his way up to prime time. Mm, I can't say that, but I'll say this: he's tooting his own horn like he's a lot deeper than some guys that he ain't. He ain't better than no Champ Bailey, and he ain't better than no Deion Sanders. He need to get them out of his mouth. Well, those are people who don't know no better and didn't see nothing and have to listen to them. I don't watch them shows, so I don't have to hear that mess. I always say there's tears to it, but you don't hear me. Look, I like Shady McCoy, but he was never first tier. Not against nobody that I know. He was in that really good, very, very, very good. But there's another level to it. That's one of the reasons why I don't like when athletes get their podcast, because it's usually some people who knowingly talk extra greasy when they weren't that dude. Rasheed Wallace is one of the few that was actually honest about his place. Well, a lot of these other cats talk crazy. Gilbert Arenas and them talk crazy. Like I always said, there are tears to it. And I gotta hear some Turkish talk like they done something, which they didn't really do. Yeah, he was bad. Anesis was bad. Anesis, he could cover, he could hit, but it's true. When you play for whack teams, you get hardly no love. That's how it used to be too. And remember, there was no social media, so you was out there playing for Arizona, you were representing by yourself. By the time he got on mainland, his career was done. Yep. You get teams that don't win nothing and they bunch it with scrub teams, this is what you get. No one remembers it though. That's kind of like Mitch Richmond who got that ring with Shaq and Kobe. No one remembers it because when you were in your element, it's on your resume, but it ain't the same. So yeah, you got it too. Mm-hmm. Yep. But it was kind of like it was kind of hokey for me because I was like, man, look, if they'd have had him the end of his peak or his prime, I didn't forget. Mitch was a bad dude, and I'm thinking, boy, if y'all had got him with 2 or 3 years in the tank, oh, you probably would have gotten another ring because he was a big time scorer. That's what they tried to do with Carl Malone and Gary, and Shaq did hook up Gary in Miami. Tried to. Yeah, riding the pine where his jersey didn't even get dirty. That don't count. And he sat there on the bench. I saw him. I saw him. I was cringing. And the sad part, that's the first time he ever got past the second round. That's the sad part. That's the sad part. He had to ride some pine saw. He was, because Mitch Richmond was no joke. He was strong. He could jump, shoot. He just played in Saudi Arabia. That's all. If he had half the spotlight that Reggie Miller had, watch out. So I got a story for you about him. It was in Slam magazine, and what was it, 97 or so? This was before Allen Iverson went on his Michael Jordan. I love Michael. He said, "Give me Latrell Sprewell's game. You can keep Jordan's. I want Latrell." Latrell was that dude that people wanted. What was the whole thing was before PJ Carlesimo? Latrell could give you buckets. And he was raw. He could run. Bad attitude too. Bad teams, bad attitude. He had some good situations. He just, he signed that bad contract from he had enough money to feed his family. So he always said some crazy stuff. He did that one commercial with David Robinson. I don't know if you ever saw it or not. That was funny. He just had a bad reputation. Guy could play though. Cats like him and Vernon Maxwell, you'll never see the likes of that in the NBA. For me, Spree. Now you ask me who's a better teammate, I'm gonna tell you Allen Houston. But a better natural talent was Spree. I'm gonna do that one in a future video though. You gave me an idea. They were teammates, as you know. They helped lead the Knicks to the finals. Patrick Ewing was hurt that year in '99, and they made a nice duo. Because Allen Houston was a double junior whopper Scottie Pippen. He was a good compliment. He got paid too much money to leave Detroit to come to New York though. But as a sidekick, he was legit. I remember all too well because they beat the Heat. He came up big. Reed was tough. Played in Minnesota. He was tough. You know, tough dude. So you're not gonna hear too many people talking about them no more though. They were a pretty good duo too. I'm gonna do that one for you. I'll make that a future one. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they know what's going on, but they don't know what's going on because they're not really invested like that because it's so compartmentalized that it's manipulative. It's not. The problem is you got too much of what's going on without really watching it. They were, but they didn't really blend. Because I like Cotino Mobley, but they didn't really go nowhere. Francis was a freak of talent, but he just didn't really, you know. I might do a video about them. That was the problem. That was the problem. And they went and got Rayford Austin. They always end up getting the same type of play over and over again. Yeah, the only time they had a guard that I was impressed with that pulled it off was Calvin Murphy. And they went from the three balls with Sam Cassell and Kenny Smith and them to that, what they ended up playing with style. Francis had spring in his behind, just wasn't consistent though. And Coutinho was the ultimate coming off the bench doing things, but again, it wasn't really. Something was off with those cats though. The decade that I enjoyed the most was the '80s, yo. You ain't gonna never hear me say otherwise. Best decade I ever saw. Because everybody was everybody. Everybody had their own identity. And you could bring in a guy off the bench, you gonna win a chip. He could be a journeyman. He could be good. Everybody had a role. That was my favorite era. They scored points. They defended. They got physical. You earned your keep. And everybody had an identity as a team. That's my last favorite era. Ever since the Bulls three-peated, I thought that the NBA was watered down. And it became more pushing a, individual. Jordan will tell you that too. It's been watered down forever. Except now you can't put no hands on nobody. Can't body nobody up. That's the difference. I watched the different decades. I mean, I can't. I'm not. I tell you like this. '80s was the best decade I saw. I was not fully aware of the '70s, but what I remembered, it was very athletic when you see Dr. J. The cats could score. So that has to be second. 80s, 70s have to be because there was no 3 point line. And you had people like George Gervin, David Thompson, and Dr. J who could score crazy numbers without a three ball. So that has to be Rick Barry. So that 70s has to be number two. So 80s, 70s. I think I like the O.O.'s third. Then the 90s, and then the the one ones, the one O's, and this one would be last. I like the O.O.'s better than I did the 90s. Basketball was tougher in the 90s, but I like the game better in the O.O.'s. That's how I would describe it. I wasn't that big on 90s basketball. 90s basketball was physical and all that, but them games being 82 to 78 was boring. I think the players in the 90s were better. That I'm going to say. But I think the game was better in the 2000s. So that's my motto. I like the 90s players better. But, you know. And that's where, again, I don't talk like just everybody else about it because I'm not setting my. I mean, you might say I am, but it's only because of the offense. I thought that the 80s and the 70s had better offense, which was more of my likes. Well, if you include the power forward, you can say make a case for the 2000s because the 2000s was the power forward era. I don't know if I'd say the guard play was better in the 2000s because once we get past, you had Iverson, D Wade, Kobe. You know, we had some good guards, but they weren't dominant. Kid was big in between Shaq and Duncan, but it really wasn't Kobe D Wade. Nash got those two MVPs, but really, I don't know about that one because I didn't think the guard play was so dominant that I saw the bigs were just running things. Shaq and Tim Duncan, come on now. Some of it I did, some of it I didn't. Some of that 70s stuff predated me, but what I do remember, it was my second favorite. It wasn't better than the 80s for me. And see, this is where I flipped the script. I did like the O.O.s better than I did the 90s because the 90s was my peak prime. I was in my 20s predominantly all through the 90s. So that's where you'd be wrong to speculate that. I like the team ball in the O.O.s, but I didn't like the scoring. The 90s basketball drove me crazy with that low scoringness. And I didn't think that it was so distinctive. I thought it was kind of bland. But I will give her credit as due. The Pistons were bad. The Bulls were incredible. Portland was a team I like to watch. I had respect for Utah, Seattle. But everything else was kind of. That's what Michael Jordan said. Because you had certain teams that would just get up for you. That's all. Some things I agree with about when you're younger that influences you. Certain things. And then there were things that were before my time that I loved, like music. So all depends on what we're talking about. But because of David Stern and the excess and everything he put down. That hurt it. That hurt it. That hurt it. Yeah. But it depends on how where we're going with the topic. Hmm. Some things hurt it, some things didn't hurt it. Sometimes it just was broke before it had a chance to get going. So, yeah. Keith Van Horn was an okay, serviceable cat. About 16, 17 points a game. He was okay. He's all right. You wouldn't have known what the Tim would do, what to done with Tim Duncan, no way. If AI behaves himself and plays within the structure, at least three or four. But he'd have to want to defer to him and have to know how to catch him in the right mode. I'd say about four. Because if everybody's healthy, motivated, in the right situation, about four. Yeah, but they weren't gonna be Shaq and Duncan though. Not like that though. Not in the peak and the prime, especially when Shaq was Shaq. When Shaq was Shaq. Uh-uh. See, I tell you, you had to put Duncan with a guy like Robinson, and then with Parker and Ginobili. Yeah, you gotta understand what I'm talking about. Now you gotta pretty much put Shaq with anybody. I'm just saying. If I go from '96 to about '01, I give you that. But after that, Kobe got him. I give you the first 4 years. First 4 years, couldn't MVP. I'll give you that. But Kobe surpassed him. Excuse me. After the finals, but he had much respect for AI. AI was bad though. There's no question about it. Yeah, he was better than him at one time. He was going. AI was going at and trying to make a statement. So I ain't even tripping. I remember. I'm not gonna even argue with that. Once upon a time, because at the time, um, AI wanted to team up with a championship situation, and they thought they could get two scores. Oh, Chauncey got that pedigree from Detroit. I know why they brought him in because they thought they could get some high flying scoring. That's what it was about. If AI and Carmelo go off, I got the logic. It's just that you get burnt on defense. And he was older when he went to Denver anyway. They got Iverson about 2, 3 years past the pull date. It's a lot of hindsight, but I know why they made some of the moves they made. If it worked, it didn't work though. Anyway, so we got a few more minutes before I'm gonna go ahead and call it day. Appreciate people hitting that like and that punch that button out. Poll kind of didn't really have much of a life today though. So, he probably got about 2 or 3 more left in him. I think he'll probably be the first one to have like 10 like that. But save some for the big ones. Not surprised by him. Curry done had quite the career. No, no one's going to either. You have to have incredible stamina the way he do. He couldn't help it. He changed the game. That's the most sincerest form of flattery. Well, it's because Bob Myers said the thing about Golden State that they were light years ahead of everybody, which was true. I mean, the cat um, went to 5 finals in a row, 3-2. So it's like get on board. He was already leaving them behind already. So I got 4 more minutes. I remember what they saw because I remember them. Harden was for the mere mortals, and his numbers were crazy for a while. So start Dirk, bench Kawhi, cut Giannis because Dirk could straight up score and was clutch, and Kawhi when he healthy is as good as anybody that's out there. Giannis is strong and has made himself into an incredible player. and he'll be above both of them when it's all retirement. But seeing them all in their peak, it's Dirk, then it's getting Kawhi for me. Mm. Yeah, I already said what I said, so I'm just gonna start benching cut. Giannis would have to take it. I'd have to start Kawhi, and then I'd have to bench. How you doing? Appreciate you, Bill Arthur, as always. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. Thank you always for the great message and vibes. Always appreciate it. We'll be on for one more minute. Like I said, I'll be back on tomorrow. Appreciate the donations. Wow, I didn't even. Wow, thank you. It's a good day. Thank you, J Will, for donations and everybody's coming through. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you much. Good night. Take care of yourself. Appreciate everybody that came through. We'll be back tomorrow. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm at one time. Peace.